Marvel used to be really good about not really needing homework to go into one of their movies, and this might be one you guys need to do a little studying before you go into. So, The Marvels is the 33rd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as you can see over here. I got a few of the discs. Yeah, they've done 33 movies. This is the 33rd one. The Marvels, directed by DaCosta, is the latest entry. And, the sequel to Captain Marvel, which came out in 2019. So, it's been a while since we've seen Captain Marvel on the screens. The last film was Endgame we saw her in. I know she was in the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi. So yeah, been a while, and here we are catching up with her. Before we get into the movie, let me give you a little synopsis, if you will. The synopsis here is that Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau, who all have a link in their powers, somehow get them entangled, which causes them to swap places whenever they use their powers. But they must team up to form the Marvels in order to stop a ruthless bad guy trying to do some nasty stuff in the universe. And that's essentially the main gist of the plot without going into super spoilers. And as we all know, I don't really do spoilers on these. I like to just give a general film review and let you guys go out and experience the film on your own. So, look, let's start off here with some of the positives. And the positives is this cast. I think it's a great cast. I like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I like Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau. And I absolutely am a big fan of Iman Vellani as Ms. Marvel. As you can see, I'm rocking the Ms. Marvel t-shirt because she is currently my favorite character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She had a TV series on Disney Plus, 6 episodes. It was pretty dang good. I'm not gonna say it was the best show that they've done, but I think her character of Kamala Khan is my favorite character in the whole MCU. And if you haven't seen that show, you might want to brush up on it, and we're gonna touch on that at some point. Then also in this you get Samuel L. Jackson coming back as Nick Fury, and you also get a lot of the supporting cast, mainly the family members of Kamala Khan from the Ms. Marvel show coming back in here, and they're all great. They are some of the highlights of this film. The only weak spot, in my opinion, when it comes to the main part of this cast is the villain, played by Zawe Ashton. Now, I'm not blaming her completely. There are a little some problems I had with the story and how they kind of tried to flesh out her character. And I don't know if her acting chops were quite up to snuff with this one. Not that she was bad, but it's just a little over-the-top acting, and maybe just didn't hit the notes it needed to when it came to some of the serious moments. And look, this is a film I know a lot of people going into were ready to just hate because Marvel hasn't been on its game a lot lately. And I think people were just ready to take a crap on this film. And I'm here to tell you, look, this is a good film. Point blank, this is a good film. It's got a tight run time of about 105 minutes. I think it's the shortest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's like you get in, you get out, and it's actually, I had a whole lot of fun with it. It's one of the most fun films of the year. Where it suffers from, for me, is the fact that you do probably have to do a little bit of homework. If you're not familiar with Ms. Marvel or Monica Rambeau, there are some stuff you might want to brush up on. Not that this film, I think you could catch up pretty easily, even if you haven't seen it. But I think in order to kind of fully just jump in, because they introduced Kamala right off the bat as Ms. Marvel, and if you've never seen any of the shows, you're kind of left going, who is this? I mean, and you get a quick catch up, but I don't know. To me, it just didn't feel like it did enough justice. It did just feel like, wow, we just kind of flew by that. It just didn't feel satisfying. Even as somebody who's seen the show, I was like, it didn't feel like this was, executed as well as it could have been. And same with Monica Rambeau, because she was in WandaVision, and that's where she got her powers, and they briefly talk about that in the film, but it's like two lines of dialogue, and then we're off to the races, and you're like, what? What's a witch hex? What happened? So I can see where people might get a little confused, and that's where I think Marvel has found themselves now. There's just so much to this universe. They have just ballooned to the point where it has now become a requirement that you kind of see some other stuff before going to see a movie. And it shouldn't be that way. You should be able to just jump into this film without any, prerequisites, and you'll be able to get caught up and, hit the ground running. And I think some people might be fine with this. without having to see that. And I just think, like, on the most part, I think people will be like, it would have been nice if I would have brushed up on it. Maybe not 100% necessary, but I do think it helps. So whatever works for you. And I do love the Ms. Marvel show. And like I said, Iman Vellani as Ms. Marvel is great. You should go check that show out if you get a chance. The stakes in this film, I do think there's a lot of missed opportunities. I think they set up a lot of very interesting stuff with the villain, with kind of stuff that Captain Marvel is kind of dealing with, and it just never fully gets to the places I'm like, this could have gone to really some interesting, dark, introspective places, and it stops short. You get like the gist, and then they just go, well, we think you understand, we're just going to move on. And that's my big problem with this film. Like, as tight as the editing is, I do feel like this could have breathed a little more. I think it could have done with some, a little more character work. Let's spend some more time with it. It was so rapidly edited and so cool. The story just moved from beginning to end, which I'm sure people will dig. But for me, I was like, I think I could have used an extra 10, 15 minutes just to sit with Captain Marvel and some of the stuff that we're trying to deal with her, with Monica Rambeau. She's got an arc in here that I feel was underutilized and developed. And I would have liked to see more from that relationship, especially one she's got with Captain Marvel. And then Iman Vellani, as great as I think she is, and she is fantastic in this film, I do think that she also kind of gets shortchanged. It would have been cool because she meets her idol, and I'm just like, we could have dealt with that a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Like I said, 10 minutes. You could have dedicated about 3.5 more minutes each character to kind of, flesh all that out. And I know 3.5 times 3 is not 10 minutes, but you know what I'm saying. I just think, as far as Marvel stuff goes, definitely not the worst of it. This is definitely middle of the road kind of Marvel, but it was fun and entertaining. And I think people should give it a chance. I know there's going to be some people out there who are just going to hate on it just because it's like an all-female cast or a woke Marvel or blah, 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 whatever people complain about, which is dumb. It's just judging the movie based on what this movie is. It's a good time. It's a fun time. I would recommend you go see it. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this thing a solid B. I definitely would go see this again, and I can't wait to see some of these characters again. I'm looking forward to it, and be sure to stick around. There is one post-credit scene. It's like the mid-credit scene that you don't have to stay all the way to the end. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing there. I got up and left because I read no end credit scene. There was just a mid-credit scene, which is actually a pretty interesting tease to stuff coming down the road. So I'll leave you with that. So yeah, what do you guys think? Have you gone out and seen the Marvels yet? I know it just came out tonight technically, but do you plan on seeing it? What are your guys' thoughts on it? If you have seen it, leave those down in the comments below. And if you could, please also hit that like button, the subscribe button, the little bell notification to be notified whenever I drop new videos, which I know has been few and far between lately, but I think we're getting back into, movies that I think are finally grabbing me and like pulling me back to the theater. And I've been kind of settled in finally, as you can see in my little office here. So yeah, guys, until the next review, I'll be seeing you.